Your story is not just a content. It is a current. It is a calling and a catalyst for changing the life of others. To be an author, you don't need to be a writer to be an author. To be an author, you need to have a story, a passion, a message, a philosophy, a wisdom, a worldview, expertise that you want to share with your world. If you are a professional, you are the top notch, you have reached the crescendo of your career, and you are the best shot. The only way you can prove to your world that you are the expert in that space is to write about your expertise. Everybody has been called here to have a unique story, a unique background, a unique upbringing that nobody else can tell that story for you other than the way you can do it. Best kept secret that is being unleashed to you. Stop hiding. Stop saying you are too small. Stop saying your story cannot come out of that silence, come out of the fear, and let's get you started. Hello everyone, welcome to the very first episode of my Strong Why podcast. This is the show where we go beyond the bios, or the business cards, or the book deal. Some of you have known me with books, and here we do what? We deal directly to hear the stories that matter the most, the one that is rooted in purpose and in all intentionality. I'm your host, Adeola Atekoja, and this is the space for voices that carries weight, for stories that needs to be told, and for those of us who are already getting ourselves ready to live boldly in our creative space. Now, whether you are a professional in the diaspora, or you are an emerging author, or you are an author already, or you are just someone searching for deeper clarity about your career, about your work, and about your life, then this is for you. Today, I'm going solo, being the first time, and I want you to see how this show is going to be going from now. I'm going to be taking you behind the curtain so that you can be able to see how this program is going to be run. I want to tell you and make you see the why behind this show, or why I believe that your story, yes, yours, is worth telling. Yes, that is why I'm here. And by the way, this episode is sponsored by Lodeta Consulting, an offshoot of Lodeta Publishing. And if you've ever been thinking of writing, publishing, anytime soon, then I encourage you to go to www.lodetaconsulting.com to learn more on how you can get started. So let's start with the first reason why did my Strong Why show. And I'm going to be starting to answer this question by sharing with you my first breaking point moment when I discovered my why. It was a turning point in my life. It was a season of awakening calling. And this was the moment when I knew I can no longer begin to live life by default. So let me just backtrack. I went to Ukraine, January 2019, for a program. It's a personal development training, and with my mentor, Dr. Adeola. On getting there, it's the first time, and then it was called trying to get myself acclimatized. But something happened when I had my one-on-one session with him. And he told me, this question, when you're answering it, don't tell me you are married, and don't tell me you go to school. He asked me to describe myself without telling him I went to school or I'm married and this telling me. See, that very moment when he asked that question, I struggled within to reach one side. I look inside of me, and there was nothing I could say. Okay. I would have said, okay, I am a graduate of industrial chemistry, and I had a master's in environmental management in the University of Lagos in my country, and then I am married with 3 kids, and then I lived, that could have been, and I've worked with this organization or this company. So I struggled. But within me, I knew there's a search for more. And so when I came back to the United States, when I came back, I knew that something is missing. I knew already that something is missing because I could not articulate who I am. And that was the moment I started my journey to reflecting how I can truly live life in such a manner that people that comes across me can point to the fact that I actually, and I felt that moment was God sent for me, because that voice never left me since that time. When I got back, do you know what I did? I started a YouTube channel. 2019. 2019 was the year I traveled. So I bought a lot of books. I started my personal development journey. Every day, night and day, I started playing YouTube videos that has to do with personal development, any program I can do. And then that very year, I was pregnant. I had my baby later in that year. And so I was home. So I had a lot of time nursing my baby and then being able to do what? To be able to ingrain myself more. And then COVID hit 2020 and everybody disappeared. That was how I took the challenge. I attended a training by Tony Robbins, and it was a free training, and he taught us 5 days. How many of you must have heard of Tony Robbins? His programs are so costly, they are high ticket program and trainings. But this time around, because of COVID, he decided to do a 5 days training, which was free. I joined, and shortly after that training, it was like I knew I can no longer live life the way I used to. I stopped living life as a default. I stopped believing that I cannot do something, because I remember one of the challenge that he gave us as assignment in that video was, what is that imposter story, or what is that story you've been telling yourself, the reason why you have not been able to do what you love to do? And then I remember, I would love to teach my fellow women, I would love to teach my fellow Africans in diaspora that are here some of the things that I've learned that is helping me to live my life in such a way that is different from others. And lo and behold, I said, how can you start? And I decided to start by going live on a YouTube channel. I asked my daughter, my oldest daughter then, and we did all the what have you, and then I started. If you are just doubting, you can go all the way to the first video you will see on this channel. Videos don't lie, they are all there. I did not delete nothing. So you can be able to feel it and see how I was then. And this is 5 years talking. So I believe that I used to tell myself then that my voice does not really, look at how I'm sounding. Hello, everybody. She used to feel different, like I'm not polished enough. I don't have the, the crispy, what have you, touched, pronunciation. I'm an African. I don't have the linguistics. I don't know how to use and twist my mouth in a certain way so that I look polished. So therefore, I wrote myself up. I gave myself reason why I should not start. But I thank God that year, after listening to Tony, said, that very thing you've told yourself you could not do, then go and start. Go and start as you are. And I started on learning some of those things that have kept me in that same cycle up to that moment. Let me tell you one thing, friends, if you are listening. Clarity will never come to you when you stand still. It will come as you move. And you don't need to have all the answers before you can start anything you want to do. That was how I found my wife. By trusting that God, believing in myself, that I have something to offer my world beyond 9 to 5. Because I remember that it was just a case of before I traveled to Ukraine, my life was in the auto rotation. I worked then in a night shift, and because of that nature of work, once I go in the night, I come early in the morning before 7 a.m. or thereabout, and then my children are awake, I get them dressed and ready for school. And once they leave for school around that 8:30, 9, then I'm at home, and I'm going to sleep, take care of the house, and I'll wait till evening like 4:30. While they are back, then we continue. That was how I was living my life in the cycle. Until I came back and I said, this cannot be me again. I chose to find a better way to life and just recycling life in an auto program. Now, let me now tell you what happened that I am going to tell you to keep trusting your God's given wisdom, your God's given passion and talent, because that is where your applause and your fulfillment will come from. So that is why when I get to coach clients and when I meet friends and people, especially people in a diaspora, and that is why I'm going to be keeping you about to why I decided to narrow down to African diaspora. And that does not mean that I cannot help, I could not relate, and we're not going to be featuring other people from other clan, or other tribe. But I will tell you the reason why. So when client tells me I'm not ready, I'm not ready, I used to reply them this way. You don't have to be ready to start anything. You have to have the willingness and the mindset that life is not about perfection. It is about obedience and the courage to take the first step that shows you believe in what you have. Obedience will lead you out of every waiting. And because I want you to also remember that your writing is not for perfection. And by the way, there are people that are trained for that. And by the way, if you eventually end up coming to our organization to get your book commissioned, we have seasoned professionals, top-notch, that are working behind the scene to help create that bestseller experience that you will want your book to have. So most of the books we have on this platform, they are from best hands, from the well-trained and the best brains that you could ever imagine. From the team of editors, team of writers, to the team of brand directors, graphics, layouts, till the marketing, everything we have all for you. So one of the things I always tell people is this: you don't need to be a writer to be an author. Let me repeat again. To be an author, you don't need to be a writer to be an author. To be an author, you need to have a story, a passion, a message, a philosophy, a wisdom, a worldview, expertise that you want to share with your world. That is the beginning. And once you have this, you are good to go. And I want to also remind you this second statement I need to talk about. There is no way you can spell the word authority without the word author. You cannot spell authority without the word author. So if you are a professional, you are the top notch, you have reached the crescendo of your career, and you are the best shot, the only way you can prove to your world that you are the expert in that space is to write about your expertise. It helps you to position yourself better and easy as the go-to person. And this has been one of my admonitions to many business owners, aspiring business owners, and people from 9 to 5 that want to pitch to start their own side giggle or to start a business idea they've been having. One of the first advice I give: if you have ever thought of doing any business and you don't know how to start, I encourage them to go and write about that very thing. So you want to start a weight loss coaching school or coaching gym or whatever, have you thought of writing your story on how you have been able to reduce your weight from 170 pounds to 150 and let people read it? So that is the beginning. So your book is not a project, it's a bridge to somebody else's transformation. So when you write it, it is not just I'm writing. Each of those moments you are writing, you are creating an experience that is going to help your readers to know you, to like you, to trust you, and to begin their own transformation. And so it is important that you don't delay further your impact because you are thinking you don't know how to write. Talk to us and you will get the best hands. I will take care of that. Now, another thing that you are asking, okay, why is it better to build a bigger brand than building on the social media? Now, the danger of building your brand on borrowed platforms. I don't know how many of us can relate to the time when everybody just woke up. There was a time and suddenly Facebook was just off and people could not log in and whatever. And it is the fact that platform can change. There was a time also in this country that we had a rumor that TikTok is going to be banned, and that was a platform that most entrepreneurs and whatever brand builders are using. And can you imagine if actually that threat was true? That would have been the end. So there's danger in you deciding to just want to build your brand on borrowed platform because it can disappear and the algorithm can change. When you choose to build your brand by telling your story, by building your voice and your body of work, it will be yours forever. And this is one of the things I teach my clients when they come to me for brand strategy coaching. I teach my clients to build beyond the scroll and to look at how they can turn their online presence into a purpose platform. Let me ask you this question. if I should go to your platform, let's say your Instagram or your Facebook, and I scroll between year 2020 and 2025, and I shock you that out of all the posts you've shared in your work, does it matter? Does it worry you that you have never made a dime from that? And I can categorically tell you that if I get hold of that platform, every of the posts, the stories, the information that we've shared could have been a book. And that is why sometimes I worry, and I'm always using every strength I have to campaign for this. That it is not about going on social, it's not about being popular. It is about being impactful. And so if you have a message, you have an understanding, you have a wisdom, that wisdom can be turned to wealth if you choose to align it perfectly in a way that people can pay for it. So I want to encourage you to go back to those platforms I've just mentioned and go and check all your posts and give yourself the challenge. Keep your eyes on each of those words, all those texts, all those posts, and open a Word document and post everything. And let me tell you, you will have helped yourself. You will have written a book in the minimum if we are not trying to exaggerate. And what does this mean to live in your creative space? It is you showing up unapologetically, not just trying to fill in the space or trying to show the world that you can post or you can do this, but becoming the vessel who can use his or her own gift for an eternal impact than just wanting to go viral. Because sometimes I like when you see people talking about, I just want to go viral. I just want to go viral. But it is not about just being viral. How about you using your gifts to change it, to transform a life that is written up, to bring hope and succor and light to the path of someone who's lost in darkness. This is the beginning of the journey. And that is why you must begin to see how can you do that. So you may be asking me, so if I'm telling you to move away from all those platforms, how do you do that? That is why I encourage you to write your book. Write your book. So from that post on the social media, telling them about the book you've written, and inviting them with a link to where they can have the book. First and foremost, you are creating another opportunity that is bringing impact. Because every word that is in that book is written to transform lives. And then for them to get to pick the book and pay for it, we are also building residual income. So that is why I encourage my audience and my clients to go beyond those platforms. All right, the next question: what are the top excuses that I hear from aspiring authors and brand builders? It is normal, away from the drama, everyday drama, the family. I have a family, the career, my job, my work doesn't give me enough time. I don't have enough time, I have to take care of my kids. My boss. What if nobody even reads it? Or even talk about, I'm not good enough. My story. I don't think anybody can make any sense out of that story. What an excuse you use to make yourself look small. And I want to talk you out of that excuse. I want to talk you out of that excuse. Progress is better than polish. When I started my own, one of those nights I used to tell myself, and that has to do with my YouTube channel, if you watch it, then I used to tell myself, I don't know how to speak. I speak, and do you know one of the things that delivered me? When I started my YouTube channel, I used to tell myself, I don't sound polished. I don't know how to, when you listen to some people and they just look as if their tongue was twisted in the Queen's English and you feel like just taking their lips. So every time I see people talk like that, I feel intimidated. I feel like nobody's going to listen to me. I'm in the US. I'm not in my local Nigerian setting where I can speak anyhow I love. And I'm not even saying that we should not learn how to be polished. But do you know what's happened? In one of those days I talked about doing my assignment in Tony Robbins' program, I did a short video talking about what we like to do. And the funniest thing, Tony has a global platform. And after I submitted that video, I posted it on the platform. I had then like 23 to 24 people commenting on my video, saying, I love your energy, I love your passion. Oh, go girl. That was the day I stopped giving myself those excuses and I took out the challenge to those things. And lo and behold, I challenge you. Every of those trainings I did on my YouTube channel on say personal development, I talked about how as a nursing mother of 3, I'm still able to show up for my world. I'm still able to learn all these lessons that I need to learn to be able to show up for myself. And in that space of every of those lessons and training that I did comes this. So I have my book here. This is my first book. Connecting the dots. How to make sense of your life's purpose and vision. This book came out of all the trainings I did then. 20,000 in my YouTube channel. So your audience will lose if I did not start then. Your children will lose if I did not start then. This book took me to my first 5-figure earning as a business owner, as an entrepreneur. Your community loses so many, over 40 and going to 50 aspiring authors that have been turned to authors, bestseller authors, will not have been able to see the light of their book. So when you dim your light, you leave others in the dark. And hiding helps you. So I encourage you to stop hiding. Show your light in your world to see. And so let me now talk to you about one of the questions that some people come and talk to me about. Now, if I want to start, how do we start? First thing first, one of the things that I let people know is that everybody has been called parents. You have a unique story, a unique background, a unique upbringing that nobody else can tell that story for you other than the way you can do it. So I used to remind them, okay, we're going to do your documentation. This time around, I encourage you to take your phone around when you wake up early in the morning and your home is very quiet and you are well refreshed and you have your moments where you can just journal. I encourage you to just take a moment and look at your life decade by decade and start recording. If you are the type that knows that can type ceaselessly, or you are the type that can just pick your phone and on your audio application and start recording. Just record your voice, type the notes, get it out of your head as it's coming. Let it be somewhere tangible. Break it down. So these are the first steps I coach people and my clients when they come to me. That what is the first thing that I can do to get started? So, okay, so writing about yourself. Look at yourself decade by decade. The first decade, what are the high moments? What are the events that stood out before your birth, during and while you were growing up? So that first 10, the first decade, document it. Then move on to the second decade, third, fourth, fifth, and so on and so on. And then, once you are done with everything, get an application on your Word document and let it read out and convert those into text. Transcribe it. There's so many transcription applications that you can do. And then it now comes to how you can structure it, to build the manuscript in such a way that will have a readability and an exciting and read for your audience, for your readers. And this is where we provide the assistance, the publishing need that you need to help you structure it. And these are some of the things we provide. We provide the strategy, the alignment, and the support you need to get this. And so this is what I want to say. So don't overthink it. The aim is for you to start and not for perfection. So your first 30 days of writing should be about you just dumping your thoughts, dumping those ideas. And if it is not about you, it's not your biography, it's about a business idea or about an expertise, drop every point, every lesson, everything you want to teach about that subject. And then let somebody help you take it from there. All right. Now, okay, what is missing in the mainstream storytelling about the diaspora? And let me answer that this way. One of the things that I've noticed that are missing are nuance, our faith, our brilliance. Too often, our stories are being told by others, not by us. And this is what we are changing. I noticed I was privileged to be in a room full of professionals in the health profession. And I was in that room. Doctors, professionals, the who is who. And then I looked on. I saw this. I can count my fingers. How many of those brilliant brains and minds waiting for me? I was shocked. This is where I saw them. That's our books are the bridges between generations. So all the wisdom, all the expertise, everything that builds those professionals, made them who they are, made them tick, gave them the ladder through which they were able to rise and reach the crescendo of their career in good success. Nobody knows a lot. Can you imagine if such people, if anybody dies like that, we have lost generations. So I was able to sit them down and make them see the reason why their book writing is not just because it's a fun or something I just think maybe. It is to preserve legacy. They are able to have understanding about how and where they were coming from and who they have been able to become. And how we can connect our past to what is possible in the future. And this is why I believe that we are in the season of reclaiming our narrative as Blacks and the Africans in diaspora, and not allow other people to narrate and describe us. Because silence is no longer an option. It's time to shift from survival to storytelling. You and I are the narrators. You and I are the narrators. So I encourage you, if you are watching this show and you think or you have an idea or you have been sitting on your story for long and it has been that I don't know how to go about it, help is here. At the end of this video, check the description for a link on how you can get started. And so let's talk about what I've learned from first-time authors. Some of them, like I said earlier, the imposter syndrome, and some of the mental block, the emotional block, and the mindset shift that they need. That sometimes, look for example, it's a lady who was divorced. And when she was going through that period of divorce, what stigma that does to a woman, and even in society, even in the church setting, in the religious setting, kind of rub off on their confidence. And then because of that, she was not willing to share that story. And I encourage this story goes beyond me. So she took up the challenge to write her story. Not to tell it without hiding anything, without any fear of judgment, without any imposter syndrome. She unearthed the lie that the enemy was telling her. And from that moment of writing, she was healed. She was healed. You know what happened? That program, that book as we speak today, this is the book. Restore. Understanding self-love and the power of solitude. She used this book to empower every woman and young adult who is going through the emotional breakdown of divorce, of not knowing how to live their next chapter and being able to show up to their work. She was restored. She remarried. And she now have a foundation that is helping fellow women to get their voice back. What an amazing journey. So when I remember stories like this, and when I read testimonials from people, from a woman, she said she was traveling and she decided to read this book while she was in the plane. She said all throughout that trip she was crying because she was reading her life in it. And she was able to summon courage to be able to believe that her own is not over, that she can also rise above the shame and against the prejudice that the society has placed on her, to own her voice back and regain back. So these are some of the stories that when I listen to, they move me to want to go on and continue to encourage everyone to go out there and release their voice in work, because what you are doing is that you are becoming a go-to person. You are becoming an authority. You are becoming a succor and a beacon of hope for everyone that is in that world that is looking up someone who could help and define their life. So you know that sense of completion, that sense of healing, clarity. I remember also a man that lost his wife during the COVID, and during that period of his mourning, the book he wrote was to saving this. So writing book can be therapeutic. He was using that book to help him heal from the sorrow and from the anguish of the loss. So I want to encourage you and to just tell you my story, that the obedience of going to start helping others. When I saw the gap, God has taught me something through writing. This is the success of this company. It is not about the money alone. It is about the ability to suppress the fear and believing in what is possible. And then you hear very well, and you hear from your spirit within you that this is who you are meant to be. And Lord, I listen more to you. What is this all about? How can I help somebody on earth this story to become a best-selling book that is our world we want to read? And I want you to remember, God does not call the qualified. He qualifies those who He has called. And when you obey and you move, you have heaven's back. So Lodeta Publishing is not just one of those regular book writing companies. We are faith-based. We don't just write. It's an interplay of what the Spirit can do behind a life that chooses to present himself as a vessel. Because every time when I see those people, especially there's a 74-year-old man who said he has been his lifelong desire to write, and he never saw how that vision was going to be possible. Seeing the joy on his face when he finally launched his book in the year 2023, and his daughter got married, and he was able to present that book to them because he decided to write about his 35 years in marriage. Can you imagine that gift? And can I shock you? Last year, summer, he got an invitation, all expense paid trip, to New York, to couples retreat as a guest speaker. You know what he did? He went with his book, sold his book, got honorarium, and also he was hosted. All expense paid, tickets, tour for. Can you imagine that? I was so happy. And when he came back with honorarium. Can you imagine? He said, "My coach, this is for you. Thank you for showing me the way." I was so happy and enjoyed. Like I was able to support someone to bring to pass his long life desire. So I'm encouraging you. You can be the next best kept secret that is being unleashed to you. Stop hiding. Stop saying you are too small. Stop saying your story cannot. Come out of that silence. Come out of the fear. And let's get Susan. So let me now tell you, the question is, what season tested me the most? There was a season when I thought I looked myself as a failure. I have started a business and I've done all the certification. I have trained and I was looking for a 9-to-5 job I can use as a support because I have a little kid. So I'll be working from home and I'll be building my business. Tried, did the certification, passed, interviewing, first round, second round, and all along the third round, I just don't know what happened. I was positioning myself as an agile coach and it never happened. 9 months. And in between the space, some of the community where I was having the training, some of them come to me to coach them. And they will pay me. They will go and get the job. And I did it. And I was almost going to tag myself a failure. And I remember in 2023, I got a call from people. And that's good. Asked me, what am I doing this time? If I'm free, you would like me to attend an event in the White House. White House? What is happening? Lo and behold, it was the 2022 International Women's Day celebration. She has been given an invitation to attend the event, the Capitol. She couldn't. first and foremost, she was not close to the state. It was happening in DC, and I live here in Maryland. And when she looked at who she could transfer the invitation to, I don't know how my name was mentioned. And then she sent my name, and I was clear. That was how I got my first visit to the White. So, in that space, the lesson that taught me, even though that year I was thinking myself to be a failure, I have tried certain things that I was looking for to bring me money that did not yield. But a call from the least expected place, from the least expected country, inviting me to be a guest, I can never forget the experience. And do you know what happened? After I left that experience, I told myself I'm going to write. And I decided to stop shrinking back from my own brilliance, to begin to become the voice, to own my voice, to own my space, to believe I have something to share to my world. And I began to share my brilliance. Because I don't know which of the video that I did then that connected with this lady, that made her resonate with what I carried, that she should not think of telling a family member or whoever, but should think of me to be the person to be invited. And I tell you, the community and the relationship that build out of that experience, out of that event, has been one of those things that I cannot forget for life. Because there are some meetings, there are some occasions, there are some places you find yourself that they are defining moments, life for life. So to that woman who is watching and who is tired of being the best kept secret, to that man who's been thinking how, so my decision to own my space gave me purpose, gave me visibility, and it's rewarding because I decided to steward the gift of God in my life. And it has been a rewarding journey. And so you are not hidden. It's time for you to be positioned, and you must participate in your promotion to where God has called you. I hope at this moment you must have found one or two tips, something that connects with you, to remind you that you are not forsaken, you are not here, that your voice matters, your voice counts, and your world is waiting. Thank you very much for spending this time with me on our first debut edition of my Strong Why show. If something today stirred in your heart, maybe it's time. Maybe you need to start thinking, to write, to speak, or to start showing up. I will be happy to walk that path with you. I want you to check the description below this video on how you can send me a message, on how you can bring your book, your brand, and your voice to life. Please don't forget to share this episode with someone who is sitting on the story. Also subscribe and leave a comment. And remember, your voice was never meant to stay silent. Until the next time you're going to see me on this show, I'm not going to be alone. I'm going to be with a guest. I want to encourage you to keep living in your creative space. I want to thank you for watching, and it's bye for now.